Welcome to Discovery Dynamics, 25 facts you didn't know, but will in just a few minutes. From mind-blowing science to unbelievable history, from pop culture to the mysteries of the universe, we've got it all. The Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, made history on December 17, 1903, when they achieved the first powered, controlled, and sustained flight in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Their aircraft, the Flyer, flew for 12 seconds, covering a distance of just 120 feet. But it was a groundbreaking achievement that changed the world. Unlike earlier inventors, the Wright brothers focused on control, using a unique wing-warping technique to steer their plane. They made 4 flights that day, with the longest being 852 feet in 59 seconds. Their success laid the foundation for the modern aviation industry and sparked the development of air travel worldwide. Supercar vending machine in Singapore. It's the world's first automated luxury car vending machine. Located in the heart of Singapore, this 7-story tower is a unique showroom where you can select a supercar like a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche with just a few taps on a touchscreen. After choosing your car, the machine picks it up and delivers it to you via a high-tech elevator system. This futuristic concept is not just about convenience. It's designed to offer an exclusive car-buying experience, with customers able to rent or buy cars through the vending machine. During the Cold War, it wasn't just a border crossing, it was a high-stakes symbol of the East-West divide. Located in the heart of Berlin, Checkpoint Charlie was the primary crossing point between East Berlin, controlled by the Soviet Union, and West Berlin, which was under Allied control, including the United States. In fact, the tension at Checkpoint Charlie reached its peak during the Berlin Crisis of 1961. When American and Soviet tanks faced off just yards apart, nearly leading to World War III. Today, the spot has become a powerful historical landmark, with a museum that tells the stories of daring escape attempts by East Germans and the city's incredible journey from division to reunification. A significant portion of the world's chocolate is made from cocoa grown in West Africa, where child labor is a major issue. Many children are forced to work on cocoa farms in countries like Ivory Coast and Ghana, often under dangerous conditions and without proper education. Despite efforts by some brands to source ethical cocoa, the problem remains widespread due to poor enforcement and inconsistent monitoring. Initiatives like Fair Trade aim to address this, but there's still a long way to go. As consumers become more aware, there's growing demand for chocolate from ethical sources that ensures fair treatment for farmers and workers. When Calvin Klein launched this fragrance in 1994, it was one of the first truly unisex perfumes to hit the market, challenging traditional gender norms in the fragrance industry. The clean, fresh scent was marketed as a fragrance that could be worn by both men and women, making it a pioneering symbol of gender equality in beauty products. Its minimalist design, paired with its cool, youthful vibe, made it an instant hit, and it became synonymous with the 90s counterculture. In fact, CK1 was so iconic that it was not just a fragrance. It became a lifestyle and a symbol of the grunge and alternative fashion of the time. Did you know that the drum kit, as we know it today, wasn't fully developed until the early 1900s? Before that, drummers would play a variety of individual percussion instruments, but in the 1910s, drummers like Gene Krupa started to combine them into one set to make it more efficient for live performances. This new setup gave rise to the modern drum kit, with snare, bass, toms and cymbals all in one package. Russian and US tanks may look similar at first glance, but they're built with totally different battle strategies in mind. Russian tanks, like the T-90, are designed for speed, agility, and overwhelming firepower in fast-moving, aggressive tactics. Meanwhile, US tanks, like the M1 Abrams, pack heavy armor, advanced targeting tech, and precision firepower, making them built for long-range dominance and survival. Russian tanks use auto-loaders and simpler systems to keep things fast and efficient, while US tanks rely on bigger crews and high-tech gear for maximum effectiveness. Ultimately, each tank reflects the military philosophy of its nation. Quick, massed attacks versus precision, technological superiority. Wolves and dogs share a common ancestor, but have evolved into very different animals. Wolves live in structured packs with a strict hierarchy and rely on teamwork for hunting and survival, while domestic dogs have adapted to living alongside humans and are more social and flexible. Wolves are larger, more muscular, and have thick fur suited for the wild, whereas dogs come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes due to centuries of selective breeding. Wolves are carnivores and hunt large prey, while dogs are omnivores and often rely on humans for food. Imagine walking through the Royal Botanic Gardens in Melbourne, only to be suddenly surrounded by the eerie screeching of thousands of flying foxes, massive fruit bats with wingspans up to 3.3 feet wide. These bats have taken over entire trees, hanging upside down like something straight out of a horror film. During summer, the colonies can number in the tens of thousands, creating a cacophony of noise that echoes through the city at night. Locals complain about the overpowering stench of bat droppings, and the threat of disease, like Hendra virus, adds to the tension. Despite efforts to relocate the bats, they keep coming back. In 2024, scientists developed a groundbreaking technology that allows people to see sound using a device called a sonic visualizer. This incredible gadget transforms sound waves into vibrant, dynamic light patterns that pulse and shift in real time, allowing the deaf or hard of hearing to experience music and speech in an entirely new way. Imagine watching your favorite song turn into a colorful, living artwork right before your eyes. Not only does this bridge the sensory gap, but it also opens up a whole new realm of creativity, where people can visually interpret sound and even compose music through light. It's a massive leap forward in how we think about sound, music. Did you know that rabbits can't vomit? Unlike most mammals, they don't have the ability to throw up, which is pretty fascinating. This is because their digestive system is designed to keep food moving one way, so if they eat something harmful, there's no way for them to expel it. Instead, rabbits rely on their high-fiber diet, lots of hay and veggies, to keep their digestive system running smoothly. So, if you're a rabbit owner, it's extra important to make sure they don't eat anything they shouldn't, since they can't just get rid of it like we can. The Berlin Wall was built overnight in 1961, instantly dividing East and West Berlin with concrete, barbed wire, and watchtowers. But it wasn't just a wall, it was a barrier of escape, and over 5,000 people found clever ways to flee, like using underground tunnels or even hot air balloons. The wall split families for decades, leaving loved ones trapped on opposite sides. When the wall fell on November 9, 1989, it was a complete surprise, triggered by a mistaken announcement and overwhelming crowds. Its collapse marked the end of the Cold War and the beginning of a united Europe. Did you know the iconic Toblerone triangle shape was inspired by the Matterhorn mountain in the Swiss Alps? Created in 1908 by Theodor Tobler and his cousin Emil Baumann, the unique shape wasn't just for looks, it made the chocolate easier to break into pieces. But here's the twist. If you look closely at the Toblerone logo, you'll spot a hidden bear inside the mountain, symbolizing the city of Bern, Switzerland, where the brand was born. The bear is a nod to Bern's nickname, the City of Bears. So, next time you enjoy a Toblerone, you're also tasting a little bit of Swiss history. Almonds aren't nuts. They're actually seeds from a fruit called a drupe. They've been around for over 4,000 years and were even a favorite snack in ancient Egypt. California produces about 80% of the world's almonds, making it the undisputed almond capital. They're packed with vitamin E, fiber, and healthy fats, which is why they're a go-to for a healthy snack. Oh, and bees are a big deal for almonds. 1.5 million hives are brought in every year to help pollinate the almond trees. The ancient Romans were so advanced, they created a concrete that could set underwater, which is why so many of their harbor structures are still standing today. This special Roman concrete, known as opus caementicium, was made with volcanic ash and lime, making it incredibly durable. So durable that some of their harbors have lasted for over 2,000 years. This knowledge was lost for centuries, and it's only recently that scientists have figured out how the Romans did it. Speaking of Roman engineering, natural gas actually been around for millions of years, formed from the remains of ancient plants and animals buried deep under the Earth's surface. One of the coolest things? Natural gas is a key ingredient in creating synthetic diamonds. Yep, the same gas used for heating your home can help make precious gems. Plus, while we usually associate natural gas with fossil fuels, it's actually a cleaner option than oil or coal, producing half the CO2 emissions when burned. Horses can smell a human's mood. They have an incredible sense of smell and are able to detect changes in human emotions by sniffing your body odor, sweat, and even your breath. Horses are highly sensitive to nonverbal cues and can often sense anxiety, stress, or calmness from a person before we even say a word. That's why they're often used in equine therapy, because their ability to connect with human emotions can help people feel more at ease or even help them process trauma. It's amazing how in tune these animals are with our feelings. The smallest monkey in the world is the pygmy marmoset, scientifically known as Cebuela pygmaea. These tiny primates weigh just about 4 ounces and measure only 5 to 6 inches long, excluding their tails. Their tails can be as long as their bodies, making them look even smaller. Pygmy marmosets are native to the rainforests of the Amazon basin in South America and are excellent climbers, often seen darting around the trees and feeding on insects, fruit, and sap. Despite their size, they have a loud call that can be heard throughout the forest, which is quite surprising for such a tiny creature. Imagine this. If we tried to cover the entire Earth with gold, we'd only have enough to create a thin layer about as thick as a human hair. Even though there are around 190,000 tons of gold on Earth, that's just a drop in the ocean compared to the planet's 510 million square kilometers of surface area. If all the gold in the world were gathered, it would be like sprinkling glitter on a giant ball. Gold is incredibly precious, and yet there's not nearly enough to blanket the Earth in a golden shine. So, while gold is everywhere in our jewelry and technology, it definitely wouldn't make the Earth shine like the sun anytime soon. The world's tallest high heels ever created were a whopping 20 inches high. These oversized shoes were designed by Chris Markovich, an artist who created them as part of an art project in the early 2000s. They were more of a fashion statement than something you'd actually wear, but they definitely turned heads. The origin of high heels actually goes back to the 16th century, when Italian men wore them to appear taller and more powerful. And here's the twist. Louis XIV of France was famous for wearing high heels, and his shoes were so extravagant. Meet the mantis shrimp, nature's superhero. This tiny creature might just be the most badass animal in the ocean. The mantis shrimp's claws can strike with the force of a bullet, 50 miles per hour, stunning or even killing prey with a single punch. But that's not all. These shrimp have 16 types of photoreceptors, allowing them to see ultraviolet light and even polarized light, making their vision far superior to ours. Imagine having eyes that can detect light in ways we can't even comprehend. From super-powered punches to superhuman sight, the mantis shrimp is the ocean's ultimate marvel. Talk about a real-life superhero. The highest restaurant in America is the top of the world at the Stratosphere in Las Vegas, located 844 feet above the ground. This rotating restaurant offers diners a breathtaking 360-degree view of the city as they enjoy gourmet dishes. It's a unique experience not just for the food, but for the stunning sights of the Las Vegas Strip and beyond. Whether you're a thrill seeker or a foodie, dining here is an unforgettable adventure. In 1905, the Russian Baltic Fleet embarked on a disastrous voyage during the Russo-Japanese War. They were tasked with reinforcing Russia's naval presence in the Pacific, but the journey was plagued by poor leadership, lack of preparedness, and logistical issues. The fleet took a treacherous, long route from the Baltic Sea around Europe, through Africa, and to the Far East. When they finally arrived, they faced the well-prepared and formidable Japanese Navy, suffering a crushing defeat at the Battle of Tsushima, which greatly weakened Russia's naval power and morale. Did you know that Brazil is home to more German speakers than some countries in Europe? While Belgium has around 1 million native German speakers, Brazil boasts a population of over 1.5 million people who speak German, especially in southern regions. The influence of German immigrants in Brazil is so strong that many towns still celebrate Oktoberfest with all the traditional flair. So, while Brazil is known for its carnival, it also has a rich, lesser-known German heritage that's shaping local culture, making it a unique melting pot of languages and traditions. In 1914, a little girl named Charlotte May Piero made headlines when she became one of the first children to be shipped via parcel post in the United States. At just 4 years old, Charlotte's parents, living in Ohio, wanted to send her to her grandparents' house, and instead of using traditional travel methods, they decided to ship her by mail. The U.S. Postal Service allowed packages up to 11 pounds, and Charlotte, weighing just 8 pounds, fit the bill. She traveled in a special box, accompanied by a letter, and the whole thing only cost 53 cents in postage. It sounds unbelievable today, but it's a quirky moment from the early 20th century when the postal system was a lot more flexible. That's a wrap on today's 25 facts. Which fact blew your mind the most? Drop a comment below. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and share it with your friends. Subscribe to Discovery Dynamics for more mind-blowing facts every week. Until next time, stay curious.